Hey there, Shalligators. Welcome back. Well, today we're going to talk about Kanye West's wife. Oh my God. And not just what's going on with Kanye, because who knows? We think we've seen the end of his bullshit with like swastikas. You think like, oh, that's as far down the line as he can possibly go. No. And then another day rolls around and you're like, oh my God, dude. And you feel sorrier and sorrier for Kim Kardashian that she was trapped in a marriage with this lunatic for 11 years. And you feel yet more and more confused that she chose to have 4 children with him, or children, or a dog, or perhaps even just a California roll out at a sushi restaurant. I don't get it. He seems absolutely unbearable. But not only are we going to talk about Kanye's, unending psychological break from reality, but what to do if your ex seems to move on like that. What does it mean? Does it mean he never loved you? Is he trying to get your attention? I'm going to tell you exactly what could be going on. We're going to break it all down, and I'm going to tell you how to react. But before we get started, if you're dealing with your ex and having some issues, girl, I have some help. I developed a course called Get Him Back, your 5-step manipulation master plan. And this is going to work if you realize that maybe somebody you dated, you want another shot with. Maybe you're in a different place, he's in a different place. Maybe you had a really dramatic breakup that you don't know how to come back from. Maybe it's just a fight. Maybe it's a fuckboy situationship and you just don't feel like you have any power. Maybe you're not in any of these scenarios and you just want to know how to manipulate men. Because one's going to come along sooner rather than later. And it's important you have the power and stay in the driver's seat. I'm going to tell you how to do this. There's hours and hours and hours of video, all these worksheets, so many deep dives into the psychology of your relationship, the psychology of men, shadow self, the art of seduction, attachment styles, and how to flip the script. And I literally give you some scripts. I tell you what to post, what not to post, what to say if he reaches out in a myriad of different ways, because he will reach out. He's coming back. So if you need some help with an ex or just want to learn how to be a master seductress, go ahead and click the link down below, and you know I got you, girl. All right, let's talk Kim and Kanye. First of all, I have to apologize. You can probably tell I'm really flat. I just don't feel good. I don't think I'm getting sick. If I can be TMI, because I honestly need your guys' advice on this, and Google is doing like nothing for me. I'm like stuffed to the gills with Plan B like a few days ago, but I feel like my blood pressure is super high. Like I can feel my brain sort of throbbing. I hope I have a stroke. What a wonderful fucking byproduct of being a responsible woman. Isn't that great? It's great. Does Plan B affect your blood pressure? I don't know. I feel like Plan B is this horrible napalm inside of your body. It is, I think, so awful for you. I mean, it's better than an abortion and it's better than a baby, but it's not good. If you're popping it like candy, girl, goddamn, I mean, truly, it's emergency contraception. When you're like, ugh, I'm ovulating, like this could go real bad. He's 6'4". I feel like that's a pretty fertile person. Anyway, tell me your thoughts. Tell me, and you know what? If you guys have ever heard of something holistic that can replace Plan B, any sort of, oh shit, Hail Mary thing that's a bit more natural, let us know down in the comments. I mean, I know pennyroyal tea is an abortive. Pennyroyal tea is surprisingly hard to find. It's kind of something you have to have on standby. And, I know that you could poison yourself from too much of it and die. It's the fact that any women are still alive is like a miracle. Like we human women alive right now, we're like miracles of science, and we're miracles in the face of like sperm, which is just an endless weapon against us. Okay. Speaking of sperm and weaponry, fucking Kanye. Oh my God. I feel so sorry for Kim. And yet, again, like I said, I feel confused. Like, he didn't just become this person, right? He is this person. He didn't just become mentally ill. Mental illness presents usually in like your late teens, early 20s, could be a little later. But he was like, I'm sure there were signs. Maybe he was medicated. I don't know. But he seems to have really shit the bed in the last few years. And my heart goes out to Kim. It's like, I'm sure she did everything she possibly could, all the money, all the PR and damage control and spin and everything to keep him from destroying himself. And now left to his own devices, we've got swastikas and fake wives. So this is what happened. He had a wedding, He had a wedding or something. I'm just like exhausted even thinking about him. Like, this is not what I need. I have too much progesterone in my system right now. Kanye, can you have a little compassion? Okay? I don't appreciate this. So this chick who worked for Yeezy since 2020, Bianca Censori in Italiano, and she's Australian, big tits, and decided to wear this fucking outfit and think it's cute because I'm sure that's Yeezy. It looks like something that they make you wear after you give birth. You know, those mesh underwear. I've obviously never worn them. I'm not a birthing human. But this is, and that angle, girl, she's a pretty girl, but like, good God. And she's been working for Yeezy as an architectural designer. What is that? What is that? She's not an architect, because an architect is a licensed profession, like a teacher or a doctor or a pilot. She's not a licensed architect from anything I could find. Apparently she has her master's in architecture. Okay, she's about 27, I guess. What the fuck is an architectural designer for a clothing brand? This is the thing, for a clothing brand. I mean, does she do like installation? Does she do like their events? I don't understand what this role is at a clothing brand, at like an athleisure clothing brand. I don't know. I have no idea what she does. And I feel like the fact that this is a position for years now at this company, like, it just points to Kanyes Madness. Like, why are you employing that? If you need someone to do your events, that's part of the event company, the event design company. You know, it's not usually someone you have in-house. Like, it just to me says, like, this man does not know how to run a motherfucking business. And you could say, oh, Yeezy's been so successful. Do you know anyone who wears Yeezy? Like, literally anyone. I have never in my life met someone who wears Yeezy. And I lived in New York. Now I live in Montana, granted, not the biggest Yeezy market here. But I mean, I've traveled all over the world, never seen Yeezy once, not one time. And I don't understand why anyone would want to wear it. You go to any daycare in the world, you open up any diaper, boom, there's the Yeezy color palette. Let that just fly away on the wings of inspiration. Architectural designer. Aren't all of his shows like people standing in a warehouse or in like an airplane hangar? You need an architect for that? An architect. Okay. It's like foot artists. Like, you just put two words together. Like, what do these things fucking mean? Like, dish soap pillowcase. I don't know. I just feel like I'm having a psychotic break, like trying to figure out what's happening right now. So he had like a fake wedding with her. They're wearing rings. They're calling each other husband and wife. It could be, the theory is because he wrote a song called Censori, her name, Overload, that he released like at Christmas, which I'm sure you didn't hear, because why on earth would you still be listening to Kanye's recent music? I'm sure it's not amazing. And in it, he says, like, the Bible told me I can't have any more sex until marriage. Damn, okay. Okay, so is that what he's doing? Like, marrying her? Because they didn't file a marriage certificate so that he could fuck her? Kanye, you are too old for this. You are too old for this weird madness. Oh my God. And Kim reportedly despises this woman, despises her. Yeah, no shit. I mean, she's been working for the company since she was like, what, 24? Something like that. And I'm sure she was like flirty and like clearly Kanye had like a crush on her or something. I'd hate her too. So what does it mean when a guy just gets out of something with you, and either he gets out of something very serious with you and he jumps into something maybe even more serious or just as serious, or I think we all know this scenario that like it wasn't that serious with you or you could never quite like get there as a couple. It was kind of a situationship, and then boom, he's like wifed up. It's like your soul leaves your body when you see this. You open up Instagram and you're like, it's like the breath is gone from your human person. It is shattering. It's shattering. There's no other word for it. It's unbearable. It's unbearable. But what does it mean? Why? Because that's what we go to. It's like, what the fuck? Not just why did they move on? Because on some level we know people are going to. But why did they move on so extremely and so quickly? Did they not love us at all? Did we mean nothing? Now look, I'm not going to bullshit you. That might be the case. That might be the case. That they didn't love you. Okay? I've been there, you've been there. It is a brutality. But what there also is in there is a kind of freedom. Like, if you, and this is awful, like if you can tell yourself and not just start barfing uncontrollably, like, I guess he didn't love me. I guess he didn't. Now what I want you to do is I want you to pull back and say, where did I feel that in the relationship? At what points did I feel that? Because maybe this is hitting me so hard, he never loved me, because on some level, that's what I was always afraid of. I mean, of course, we're always afraid of someone not loving us, you know, but it's terrorizing when you're in a relationship and you get those flashes of, I don't think he even wants to be here. I don't think he cares if I live or die. Like, okay, where did you feel that? You know, because maybe you can't change how this went. Maybe you can't change how he feels, but you can change what it means. You can change how this fits into your life. You could feel sorry for yourself. And girl, you have every right to. Go ahead and wallow. Sometimes when I wallow, you know what I do? I get down on the floor and I like writhe. I like physically embody like a wallowing pig. And it just kind of helps. You know, it's like, I'm going to go full force. I'm going to go full throttle on this feeling. And it's usually so silly. I stop after like 10 seconds and I'm like, I'm all wallowed out. I'm good now. It helps it pass quicker. So get down on the floor, just root around in there, maybe Swiffer it before so it's nice and clean. Get it out. If you can look back and say, okay, here's where I felt this thing that seems to have manifested, right? We were in the situationship, and here he is, wifed up with fucking Bethany. What can you learn from that? And that sucks. I know, I get it. I get it. Learning isn't like, wee, now I feel amazing. It's not going to feel like that. But you know what it is going to feel like? Some bit of power and some bit of control over a situation that I bet, if you look back, felt powerless and controlless for a very long time. Because when you think someone doesn't love you and you might love them, talk about no power. I mean, you might as well try to manipulate the tides. It is unbearable. But if you can wrest some power from this situation, and we do that by learning from it, that's how we remaster something that's happened. We can't change what happened. We can change what it means. So what does this mean to you? It means you're going to look at these red flags. Maybe you write them down. And it means that when you go forward and you feel that one time, you're out. You're not going to stick around and try to move like, well, what does this mean? Why is he like this? I'm going to take this to the nth degree. Like, let's see where this goes. Let's fucking not. Let's not see where it goes. Let's not. Let's back away. Let's realize that red flags become deal breakers. That's what learning takes us from. Oh, it's a red flag. That didn't feel good. No. You know what that is? That's actually a deal breaker because I know where it goes. I've seen it. I have the data. I don't want to go there again. Bye. And you know, I don't know if you guys have ever seen When Harry Met Sally. I always go back to the scene. I know I've mentioned it, that like Sally has dated this dude for like, 4 years or something. They never lived together. They never got married. They never got engaged because they just like flying by the seat of their pants. Woo, we don't need those labels. I don't want to get married. And then he breaks up with her, and like 2 months later, he's engaged to his secretary or something like that. And she's crying, and she's like, it's not that he didn't want to get married. It's that he didn't want to marry me. I know. It's, oh my God, it's just unbearable, you know? And we like to sit here, we would love to sit here and think like, well, it wasn't right for me either. Sometimes it was. Sometimes it felt really right. And it's like, it fucks you up so bad. You're like, how did it feel so right to me and it didn't feel right to him at all? Like, how is that possible? How did I get it so wrong? How can I not make this even? So if that's your situation, and if he has moved on and you are just left in the dust, okay, first of all, we've gotten the worst case scenario out of the way. Everything from here on out is hopefulness, okay? Everything from here on out is good in your favor. We've front loaded all the shit. Because that's the worst case scenario. He didn't love you and it wasn't right for him and he found someone he clicks with. But I don't believe nobody these days. What you see on Instagram, what you hear around town, far from the truth, far from the truth. And I look at something like this Kanye West horseshit marriage and I see right through it. I see right fucking through it. So one of two things are happening. When your ex, you get out of something serious and he's in this more serious thing, right? Either he's trying to get your attention and rub your nose in it, and not even in a conscious way. Like he doesn't have a whiteboard. He's not like really like following this many tentacled plan. He's just being pulled towards this, which is even sadder because he's not even self-aware. Or he just can't be alone, dude. He cannot sit in his feelings. He can't do the work that you're doing. Processing, feeling, crying, wallowing on the floor after you Swiffered it. He can't do it because he's weak. Because he is a weakling. Do you know how I know he's a weakling? Because I've been that exact type of weakling. Quite recently, actually. Yeah, I broke up with someone I loved a lot. And literally later that day, I was with someone new and making sure it got around town that he heard about it. Why? Because I wasn't over it. Not by a long shot. The person who moves on the quickest is the one who isn't over it. And it fucks you up because it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look that way. Wow, they just don't even care. Like, they're just over it. They're moving on. The hell they are. What they're actually doing is manifesting their inability to sit with their feelings. They cannot either be alone, like they can't rule their own life. They can't just be in their own emotional real estate, their physical real estate. They can't just jerk off for a few weeks. They can't do it. They have to have someone around. People who are in that chaos mindset, awful to be around. And again, I know that because I was there. I completely get it. I was beside myself with grief. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't start over. I can't get back on the apps. I cannot bear this. I cannot bear this. So, hey, you, great. Great, you're hot. Great, fine. I don't care. When people need that instant security blanket, I mean, talk about cold-blooded. And it just goes to show cold-bloodedness is not a permanent state. It's not a switch that goes, you just heave it over, you're warm-blooded, and you stay that way forever. It is constant monitoring because, yeah, I was in that cold-blooded state. Didn't last for long because I was like, I just need to be on my own. Because what I was doing was wallpapering. You guys have heard me talk about wallpaper. If you've ever dealt with like actual wallpaper on a wall, you know that you have to take off the old wallpaper before you put on the new one. And you have to scrape it, and it's like such a long bullshit process. But if you don't, and you just throw up the new paper, it's lumpy, you can tell that there's shit under there. It just looks bad and janky. And you end up having to do more work because now you have to scrape off 2 layers to make it look even semi-decent, right? People do that emotionally. I can't bear to take down the old stuff. I'm not doing that work. We're just slapping something over it. Just slapping. I know it looks bad. It is bad. So, and now you don't have just one problem. You don't have 1 layer. Now you got 2, right? This is like alcoholism and drug addiction. Like, people are using those things, obviously, as anesthesia, food, gambling, shopping, sex, anything, to anesthetize themselves to some sort of trauma or ouchie or something they just don't want to deal with. Well, congratulations, because now you still have to deal with that trauma, but also you're addicted to meth and you've got 60 grand in credit card debt and you fucked the whole football team. So now instead of the original problem, you have many different problems. How's it feel? Is that a good idea? No. And this is our inclination as people because we don't want to get hurt, right? And so because of that, we just need to take a step back. We need to pause. We recognize this is going on. It's like, am I wallpapering right now? Am I wallpapering right now? If you're like, no. Okay, then ask yourself, then how does it feel to delete my Tinder? How would it feel to stay home on Saturday night? How would it feel to delete all the guys in my phone? If the answer is not good, it makes me itchy and anxious and bored, I don't want to do it, that's a sign. That's a sign that there's a wallpaper situation going on. I say this because don't trust the gram. Don't trust what you see. Don't even trust what you hear. Trust me. Trust me. If you see your ex moving on, doing all these demonstrative things, like I said, either he's wallpapering and he can't sit with his feelings, which is so cringe and so beta and so cold-blooded, which I was, all of those things, that I think you can look at that and be like, that's the emotional acuity of the person that I just left. That is their emotional depth. That is their bravery. That is their complete chicken shit cowardice. That is their lack of bravery. That is their cowardice that I am looking right at. And I'm not looking at the hashtags. I'm not looking at love doing life with you, Hannah. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at logic. I'm looking at psychology. I'm looking at ratty ass wallpaper. Okay? But like I said, could be that he's trying to get your attention, consciously or unconsciously. Now, hold on. I'm going to put a big old asterisk next to this because that might be what you want to hear. You're like, yes, oh, I knew it. I'm going to text him. I'm going to go to his house. Da, da, da. You, the fuck you are. No, you're not. No, you're not. Not on my watch. First of all, you're going to download my course. I'm telling you, this is going to help. It's going to tell you step by step what to do. There will be no room for error. Like you will flip the script without humiliating yourself. And girl, if you text him, hey, I see you're dating someone. I clearly know this is to get my attention, and yes, I want you back too. I mean, think about that, because that's what it's going to look like to him. And girl, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? I don't want you to go and confess your feelings to a single man, let alone a man who might be in a relationship. That's not good. Because look, and I had a guy do this with me recently. Like, he was suddenly like very demonstrative with some bitch who came out of nowhere, and we've been on and off forever, blah, blah, blah. And I know I don't know, but I believe he was doing it to get my attention. And I was like, I'm so happy for you. I've been dating someone too, so like, this is great. I'm so happy for you. We should double date. He wasn't happy about that. Not happy about that at all. And it's like, see, I called your bluff. I got to the root of what's going on without humiliating myself. In fact, I came from a position of power. I'm so happy for you. Did I feel that way? No. I went home and I cried and I did the carpet wallow. I did it all. I was miserable. But he didn't get to see that. You get to feel whatever you need to feel, not any place that he will observe it or hear about it. Not at all. Not at all. Because I realized, like, because all of my friends are like, he's so full of shit with this new chick. Like, he's trying to get under your skin. He heard you were dating someone. Like, this to me, they're all like, even my mom was like, this is very obvious what he's trying to do, and it's very manipulative. And that's when it kind of struck me. It's like, on one hand, like, phew, thank God he's not actually in love with this chick. Thank God that this is like about our relationship. But also, ew, cringe. This is not the person I want in my life. Someone who plays these kind of mind games and tries to bait me into coming to him by hurting me. That's supposed to be a compliment. That's supposed to be something I'm like, oh yes, that's a good thing? The hell it is. Nope. No. If he wanted to come to me and be like, I am so fucking hurt that you're dating someone and I miss you, I'm willing to listen to this. Maybe I'll dump the guy I'm dating, you know? If you're trying to hurt me, first of all, there's only room in this town for one person who's going to hurt somebody else, and that's me. I do the hurting, okay? My necklace says revenge and ruthless, not yours. I cornered the market. I get to hurt people. You don't get to hurt me. And I don't want to be with someone who is that uncommunicative and spiteful and gamey and manipulative. It's very unattractive to me. And again, like, maybe he is like not doing it, you know, maybe he's not doing it to get my attention. Then he's Kanyeing, he's wallpapering. It's like, like this is even worse somehow. So no matter which way you slice it, no road leads to reach out and get that man back. He knows where to find you. And if he can't communicate like an adult, why are you rewarding him with your own adultness? Why are you closing the gap between who a man is to be a viable, emotional, connected, healthy partner and where he needs to be in order to be that? He's here, manipulative, immature, reactive, can't be alone, wallpapery. He needs to be here. You're going to fill in you're going to do the work for him. I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to put myself out there and be vulnerable. Be vulnerable when someone's earned it. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. It's at best a bluff and at worst a wallpaper. And I say this to you because, again, I don't want you to see things on Instagram or hear things around town and just absolutely collapse thinking that he didn't love you and you didn't mean anything. Very often it's the opposite. But again, we don't want men who have to act this way. That's not a man. That's a child. That's how children act. They're sneaky, they're manipulative because they lack the skills to communicate. I don't know, maybe that's not what children are like. I was only one for a brief period of time. And I prefer not to be around them now. But you know what I mean? Like, that's not good enough. And you might be saying, but I love him. Fuck your love, man. Fuck love. Not fuck love as a concept. Fuck love as a reason. Fuck love as a reason. Where's your love for yourself right now? Because I can love a man to the moon and back. I love me to Jupiter and back. I love me further than that. So I am always going to put my needs first. I'm always going to love me most and more than I love any other man. Who the fuck are you? You manipulate me, you gaslight me, you disappoint me. I don't do those things to myself. And if I do, I can change it. I recognize it, I apologize to myself, I honor myself, and I treat myself well. I am my own best boyfriend. So if someone is not treating me as good as I treat myself, if someone is communicating with me at a lower level than how I communicate with myself, I don't think so. I don't think so. So if those are the games a guy wants to play, I moved on, I'm so happy. Let him do it. Let him do it. And you know what though? He's gonna start wallpaper layering. He's going to start problem stacking. One of my best friends, her and her husband got divorced and she tried and there was therapy and she tried and she tried and she tried. And finally she's like, you're not trying, so I'm pulling the plug here. Within 2 months of filing for divorce, not even being divorced, filing, he had a girlfriend, some hoe he worked with. 6 months after that, he had to get married. Had to? Yeah, she was pregnant. Within a year of filing for divorce, married with a new baby. Guess who hates his life? Guess who couldn't be alone? Guess who is in the exact same dynamic with his new wife? She feels ignored. He's not listening to her. They're not having sex anymore. Because he didn't change. He didn't grow. He didn't listen. He didn't sit with himself. Nothing. He wallpapered. And so no fucking shit. The same outcomes transpired again and again and again and again. I dated a guy recently. And now I know that this is a red flag to look for. And I'm mad at myself that I didn't catch it the way I should have at the time. But like our second date or something, he told me that every girl he's dated has cheated on him. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. As someone who's been cheated on, that's horrible. But now, post-breakup, I see why they did. I see why women cheated on him. Because he ices them out, because he stops talking to them, because he's snide and condescending and rolls his eyes and gives one-word answers and is like this giant dumb block of ice. So cheated on what was, I'm sure, their mindset? Like a relationship? I'm not in a relationship. This guy doesn't give a shit about me. Will he even notice? I could suck someone else's dick in his living room. I don't think he's gonna care. So is it even cheating if somebody doesn't care? Cheating implies some sort of commitment, some sort of love. That's not what I feel. And I really want to text him. Like, by the way, this is why though. Because you wallpapered, because clearly in between relationships, you did no introspection whatsoever. You did no sort of emotional autopsy, which is something we do in the course, because you don't want to repeat outcomes. To be like, Did I contribute to this? Now listen, it's only one person's decision to cheat. It's only one person's fault, but it's two people's chronic decision making that lay the foundation where cheating is on the table as an option for one person. You know? Like, he didn't make anyone cheat. That is not the acceptable outcome for being in a shitty relationship or having a shitty boyfriend. The acceptable outcome is you leave. You know, it's not, I'm going to stick around and cheat on you and torture you. It's, I'm going to leave. And that's what I did, because I'm like, I will end up cheating on you because you're awful. And I feel completely entitled. I feel entitled to do whatever I want all the time. I'm a narcissist. So I'm trying to dial that back and not be hurtful. So I'm out. I'm out. And I'm proud of myself. I didn't do anything, you know, mean and spiteful, just other than my basic personality. But clearly, you know, between those relationships, he gained no awareness about why he consistently reaches the same outcome no matter who he dates. Who's the common denominator, my guy? Right? And if people aren't willing to do that, and if they just jump from one person, they're like a monkey. You don't let go of one branch until you get a grip on the next. You keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And you not doing that, you being a judicious, smart, like self-aware woman and taking some time to let the dust settle, you're playing the long game. You might feel like you're failing. You're not. You are embodying Evil Week. You are lying in the tall grass, okay? While your enemy is being reactive and running themselves in circles and exhausting themselves. You're not doing that. You're a cat flicking its tail. And you're doing the necessary preparations to engage. I am all about the long game. I'm all about the long game because, again, in the moment, it gives me a sense of power. I'm not sitting home alone because no one loves me and I'm going to die alone. I am playing the long game. I'm doing my introspection. I'm doing my face masks. I'm wallowing on my carpet. I am processing so that when I get back out there, I'm playing to motherfucking win. Okay? My ex, he's not playing to win. He's playing to forget. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference. So when you are dealing with an ex or you see this, don't fall for it. Feel it. Feel it. I'm not saying it's not going to hurt. I'm not saying that you should tell yourself you're dumb for hurting. You're not. It is always going to hurt. A weapon can wound you. That doesn't mean it's going to kill you. But just because it doesn't kill you doesn't mean it's not going to hurt you. You can be wounded. You can be knocked down. But I want some part of that logic brain to kick in and be like, I know better. Do I feel it? Do I feel it down in my bones, in my heart? I know. No, that's okay. That's okay. I just want you to tell yourself, I know in my brain that what he's doing is pretty pathetic. And I know in my brain what he's doing is playing the short game. And him playing the short game, not thinking about the future, not considering consequences. Was that at play in our relationship? Absolutely. The guy who had every girl cheat? I'm like, yeah, you were Mr. Short Game. You didn't seem to realize you were losing me one day at a time, one conversation at a time. And when I left, it came out of nowhere to you. But brother, it wasn't, because you were never playing the long game. You were never laying a decent foundation for our relationship to keep a woman like me. You look around and you see short games versus long games everywhere. Everywhere. And you are not in the same category as those people. You're just not. So even though you can't feel it, if you can think it a little, it's going to start to take root. And then you're going to think it a little bit more, and you're going to look around your life at short game versus long game people. And you're like, People with strategy, people who are just reactive like animals, like children. And their life and their outcomes kind of reflect that. They lead animalistic lifestyles. They have childish, immature relationships. Strategic people are mature people. They're aware people. They're smart people. They're patient people. And that's what you are. Like I said, I'm sorry I'm so flat. I am... Tell me what you think about Kim and Kanye. Do you have any extra tea on them? Do you think he was cheating on Kim? Do you think that actually, you know what? Kim is the one who moved on way too fast with Pete Davidson before the ink was dry. I mean, literally, before they were even legally divorced. Is Kanye the one who's been playing the long game? I don't know. We can obviously make a case for that. I just am so team Kim and like everything that I think she was suffering for so long in that relationship. I was so thrilled to see her in love with someone. And even if it was too soon, like I was just so thrilled to see her doing something for herself, really. Also, women over men. Just, there's just that. All right, Shalligators. I'll see you next time. I filmed a video on Gwen Stefani's Harajuku. I'm Japanese thing. And I also talked heavily in that video about the best and worst celebs I've ever met. And I talked for like 40 minutes about those people. So I might just break it into its own video. What do you think? Because I got some tea. All right, Shalligators. I love you guys. I'll see you